Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? This is Amanda Ellis, and welcome to my channel. In this reading, we're going to be looking at the energy of Julian Assange, and Julian is somebody, and his case is something that I have championed for a number of years here. I will try and link below the other videos that I've done, but on this channel, we have always been big supporters of him and his plight. If I'm being honest, the last time that I read on it, it was pretty depressing in terms of his plight, and it was not looking too good. But we always keep the door of hope open here, and unexpectedly, there has been new movement on his case. So I thought it would be a good time to come back and have a look at it. So I'm going to read a little bit from a website called indexoncensorship.org. I will link it below. This has got the latest developments, and then I'm going to do a card reading and see what we get. Before we go to this, though, my awareness that something was shifting energetically has come in on the back of a couple of developments. Number one is that there is a delegation of Australian MPs or members of Australia's House of Representatives and Senate that are going to be going to America to request the prosecution and the extradition of Julian is dropped. I believe actually that they're going to be arriving maybe even next week. It's certainly very soon. The Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, as well, is quoted as saying, "Enough is enough. Nothing is served by his ongoing incarceration." So we have, at long last, sustained and strong support coming out of Australia, and a request for the Biden administration to drop this case. So that was one thing that was flagging up, and many of you might have noticed. The other thing is that about a week ago, a number of big newspapers and media outlets wrote a joint letter warning that his indictment, so I'm just reading here, sets a dangerous precedent that could chill reporting about matters of national security. Le Monde, New York Times, The Guardian, El País and Der Spiegel in particular leading that call and really standing up for freedom of speech. So that's what piqued my interest. Before we get to the cards then, I'd just like to bring you this update from indexoncensorship.org. I believe they had been speaking to Assange's wife, Stella, and she is quoted as saying that this really is the end game. Her concern is that time is running out following a decision in June by the British High Court Judge Jonathan Swift that her husband's case should not be allowed to go to appeal, a decision that she calls extraordinary. Now, the USA, I'm just reading here, has been seeking to extradite Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, to face charges relating to the leaking of hundreds of thousands of documents to international media in 2010 and 2011. Primarily about, for example, the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, detainees in Guantanamo Bay and diplomatic cables. These documents were sent to him by the US Army whistleblower Chelsea Manning. Now, in 2012, just to give a little recap, Julian entered the Ecuadorian embassy in London to avoid extradition to Sweden, to face rape and sexual assault allegations, which were trumped-up charges. He stayed in the embassy until 2019, when he was evicted by the Ecuadorian government. He has since been in Belmarsh prison in UK since 2019, and the latest development, as I say, in June, was that the decision to extradite him to USA would not be allowed to go to appeal. Excuse the dust cart going up my road, in fact, going down my road backwards. We will work with the noise, and I always say that everything in my videos is symbolic. So the fact that we've got a dust cart going backwards is feeling as though it's about to collect some of the rubbish energetically as well as physically. Right, what else do I want to say here? So there's something else that we as a community need to be aware of, which is something called the Day X campaign. These are Stella's words. She says, on Day X, I am asking everyone who can come to the High Court to support not only Julian, but also press freedom and the public's right to receive truthful information, which are being trampled upon. If he is extradited, after this final hearing, he will face charges under the Espionage Act, and it's game over. Also, sometimes we forget some of the details in this case, because it's also reminding us that it's come out over the years that Julian Assange was illegally monitored while in the Ecuadorian embassy, and that senior CIA officials in the Trump administration, I think Mike Pompeo, discussed options to kidnap and even assassinate Assange. I might not be right with regards to Mike, but certainly senior CIA officials wanted him removed. So his life has always been in danger. Over the years, I've read on this, and I've always hoped that, particularly actually under Boris Johnson, I feel as though the war, without getting into the politics of Boris, but I felt as though there was an opportunity where he might have been pardoned or let go by the British, but that did not happen. He also wasn't pardoned by Donald Trump when he left office. So here we are now in 2023, and it feels as though we are at end game, as Stella says. But I do think there is cause for hope with regards to the pressure from a united press and also the Australian government. So, shall we do a reading? Let's see what's going to come through with this. I am going to pull from a number of different decks, but I'm called to use this one, which if you watch me regularly, you'll know I never use this deck. It's this one. It's the Kipper Deck. Okay. It has got pretty specific cards in this deck, and I'm hearing there are 3 cards from this that we are going to start with. Okay. And actually, before I do that, I'm just going to spray the Man in the Mirror spray. This is linked into the Michael Jackson energy, of course, but so I'm just spraying it off camera for myself, because Julian is very much the man in the collective mirror. What we don't want to face with regards to what our governments do, what is covered up, where we lie to ourselves, we allow others to lie on our behalf. So we've got a big mirror here. Okay, let's start then. Calling in Archangel Metatron, calling in Commander Ashtar as well. Always feel a galactic presence with Julian, hence the display here. Let's see, where am I meant to be starting? What is the message? So the first card that comes out is the card of concern. Concern. And in many ways, this looks like it could be Julian. We have a white-haired man, an older man, but we have the energy of concern. But actually, I'm seeing beyond this now. I'm feeling this is reminding me of RFK Jr., who I think I'm right in saying has said that if he got into power, one of the first things he would do is pardon Julian Assange. I don't know why it reminds me of RFK Jr. It just does. It's the whole pose. We've also got the energy of the Peace Lily in this card. the rubbish lorry now about to go past my house. It's going to get very noisy, but I'm going to keep talking because it feels, as I say, energetic. My readings are always energetic. What I'm hoping we do here is clear away some of the crud and the rubbish and the lies and the manipulation and the distortion around Julian's case, so that the truth can be revealed. It feels as though this man in the leather chair, which the more I look at it, feels as though it's RFK Jr., knows the truth of the situation, knows what his governments, his country's governments are capable of, what other countries' governments are capable of. And the peace lily feels as though it's sitting there just saying that rather than us fighting wars which are unwinnable, which might be manipulated, which might be based on lies in terms of why we went in, particularly with regards to the Iraq war, weapons of mass destruction that were never there, or could we not put all of our focus on the energy of peace? And we have the beautiful golden light coming through the window and the master number 33. But this is a card of concern. So if it's RFK Jr., he's very concerned about these latest developments. If it's Julian, it's probably both. He's also concerned about these developments. But there we've got the card of concern. Okay, let's see what else goes with that. So Julian Assange, what other messages am I meant to be bringing through, please, today? Metatron and Commander Ashtar. 2 more cards, please. We have distant horizons. This could be read in many different ways. This could be the boat that wishes, or the plane, because it's in the sky, that wishes to take Julian to distant shores, to distant horizons. Worst case scenario, that is USA and a prison cell. But in a more positive way, could also be distant horizons of Australia, effectively the other side of the world from where he is at the moment in Belmarsh prison. So let's see what goes with that. So I also feel, I'm now feeling the Australian link, that this is also concern in Australia at high level, government high level, with regards to their citizen in far off lands who is very anchored to a particular place. But it's as though this feels quite dreamlike. It's as though a rescue party wants to come and give aid. Okay, let's have the final third card from this deck, please. Thank you. We have coffin. We've also got the energy of pathway. I will get clarification on coffin. The truth is, as I said at the beginning, that there are many parties in our world that would like to see Julian in one of these. Not just in a prison cell, but in one of these. That is what we seek to avoid by raising awareness of his case, by not shutting up about it, by not forgetting him, and we want to avoid this scenario. I'm also hearing, though, that this coffin represents the secrets that some would like to be taken to the grave in terms of who knew what, who did what, who ordered what, and would be quite happy for these secrets to lie in a watery grave or be devoured by the flames. I'm seeing now this card can also represent these secrets that others wanted to bring to the grave. What Julian did was bring them up for everybody to inspect. And I'm smelling, as I am tuning into this, the smell of decay, rottenness, I'm seeing the energy of flies, everything that is unpleasant and disgusting and devilish and tainted and not of God, he helped to bring to the surface. And he put it in front of people's faces. And for that, many want him to pay the ultimate price. But as the Australian PM now says, enough is enough. 2012, 2010, 2011, 2012, this has been going on for a long time. Okay, I'm going to have clarification with regards to the coffin, I think, but I'll also take this card from the bottom of the deck, which is Pathway. I'm hearing there is a pathway back for him. There is a pathway back for him. There is light here. I'm really pleased to see this because last time I read on it, it didn't feel as though there was a lot of light. On my channel, we've always identified Julian with the oak tree, which is the grandfather tree of the forest, the tree of wisdom. And here we have a clearing in the forest. We've also got the symbol of butterflies. And I don't know if you can see, but I wanted to bring the butterfly into this reading, this painted stone that I've got. And here we've got all of the butterflies as well. And of course, butterflies are a symbol of transformation. So again, we can read this in many different ways, but I would like to think that this is a pathway back to life, a pathway back to enjoying his life. But I also have to say there is another interpretation of these two cards, which is it is a pathway out of here, a pathway to a better world. I've always seen Julian as somebody who has such a powerful and such a large soul contract that is very much, it is about this earth and this incarnation, but it has such significance at a global level, at a planetary level, and actually over that, I'm hearing Ashtar say. It's to do with how it's almost as though the galactics are looking on and seeing how we as a species manage truth tellers, how we deal with them, how we deal with the subject of truth when it isn't pleasant, when we don't want to look at it, when we would prefer to bury it, ignore it, shun it, pretend it's not true. So, massive soul contract by this man, and whichever way it goes, there is a pathway to the light. Okay, I did say I'll pull one more card with regards to coffins, so let's just see if we can get anything else before I move on to another deck. Any other card that wishes to come out from this deck, please, with regards to Julian Assange. We've got Privileged Lady. Now, this feels as though it is his wife. Well, hold on a minute. Is it his wife? The obvious association is it is Stella, and it may be, but it also feels as though he has people in high places, a female in high place that favours him. And I don't mean that romantically, I mean that who's on his side. I'm wondering whether the judge would be female in this next hearing. If it's not the judge, is it a female politician? It might not be a female politician that you can actually see. She might be working behind the scenes. Could even be a high-profile civil servant. It could be somebody in media. It could be somebody in media. It could be Stella. I'm not entirely sure who it is, but this person is with him. Now, I asked for clarification with regards to this coffin, and we got privileged lady. I still feel like I need one more. Clarification, please, with regards to coffin and privileged lady, Julian Assange. Is there anything else to say with this deck? Coffin and privileged lady, Julian Assange. Okay, it looks, oh yeah, it feels as though it's more his wife. Because we've got the card of courtship, and we've also got family room. But I'm definitely picking up a sort of an aristocratic. Look at all these women, mature women as well. He has powerful female presence around him who wish to help him. We've also, of course, got the lady that passed to spirit, whose name now I can't remember, Vivian Westwood, who's probably helping him beyond the veil as well. Wonder if this is also her, that she's in a privileged position, the other side of the veil, to be able to help him. Okay, right, let's move these cards to one side and let's pull again from a different deck. And I'm going to use the tarot. We're using the Insight Tarot. Let me just move the cameras a little bit further out again so you can see what we're doing. I would like to first ask, please, can you please show me the current energy of Julian Assange? Okay, so before I even could say it, we have the Six of Wands, which is the card of success and victory. We've also got the energy of the Empress on the bottom of the deck. So certainly, I still feel this is Stella, who's obviously the mother of his children. It could also be his own mother as well. Very positive women who have helped him to keep going. Maybe that sounds obvious, but I think sometimes credit needs to be paid to the people who support heroes in our midst. A lot of the attention can just go on to the hero, in this case Julian, but the strength of the women around him who have supported him for years, who have stood by him for years, who have never waved the white flag of surrender, oh no, who've never caved in, who have waved instead the red flag. And what I mean by that is the red flag is they're waving the red flag at the public to say, can't you see the red flags here? Can't you see what this is actually about? Can't you see what he was trying to do? Can't you see, can't you see, can't you see? Because I can see, I'm the Empress, I can see. I want you to see what this is really about. And I'm going to keep showing the red flags with regards to this doesn't add up, that doesn't add up. Why has that person done that? Why have they tried to do this? Why have they blocked this? Blah, 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 all of that type of thing. So those are the first two cards, which aren't necessarily about him, it's about his support. But let me ask now about him himself. So let me just see the energy of Julian today. I'm sure it probably changes on a pretty frequent basis, although I'm hearing he's quite steady. I've said this before, I mean, he might change on the outward appearance, as it were, and, you know, have fluctuating moods like everybody does. He's a human being. But I've always seen that he has this quiet strength within him that doesn't fluctuate, actually. It's a very steely core that he has. But let's see, anyway, today, what's going on for him. Yeah, okay, so we've got the energy of Temperance and the King of Cups. It's exactly what I just said. And we've got the Hierophant on the bottom of the deck. And we've also got the Seven of Swords and the Chariot and the Page of Swords. Okay, let me just take those 6 cards. Let me move them up so you can see them. I'm going to put the Empress and the Six of Wands up here, actually. So I was just saying that Julian has always felt to me quite balanced, quite steady, certainly in terms of being inside. So emotionally, and I don't know whether this is linked to just, I don't know what it is, but he has got a Swedish link, Julian, hasn't he? Even though he is Australian, because it's like this Scandinavian, Norwegian coolness that I'm sort of picking up. It's, the King of Cups, who is an emotional person. I believe that Julian is a Cancerian, so he's a water sign. So there he is. He's the King of Cups. He's much deeper and more sensitive and more emotional than he appears on the surface. Okay, so Temperance. At the moment, how is he? He's playing the waiting game. He's playing the waiting game. There he is. He's sitting on his throne. He knows that he's a king, actually. He knows that he's sovereign. There is nobody else in the picture. There is no court here. There is no fawning fans. There are no people saying yes to him. There are no sycophants. There's none of that. There he is, alone in the blue room, on the throne. It's symbolic, of course. He has everything that he needs, even if he's in a prison cell, because he has his sovereignty. He has his sovereignty. But he's biding his time. Temperance. I'm sure I've said this before in previous readings, but this also feels as though there is an angel with him. He's very heavily protected spiritually, not just by galactic energy, but by angelic frequency. Again, it's a female archangel there, or a female angelic presence. He's never actually alone in that cell. He's always supported by spirit. Now, the other card that comes out with him, another major arcana card that came out with these two, is the Hierophant. He is here to teach humanity something. And there he sits, or rather, there he stands. And here we have the students. And he's the learned one. He is the learned one. Big old white beard like he has. White beard. And what's interesting about this card, in terms of it being he's the teacher, is that he's just standing there. He's not actually doing much. He's just standing there. It's this energy of my presence is enough. And if you think about it, he's been out of public view since 2012, yet he's never really been off the radar. I certainly have always kept him in my thoughts. I've talked about him frequently on this channel. We've done many different videos with regards to his energy, as have other people. But yet we've never been able to see him. We've never been able to hear him. It's all just been about the presence that he holds here on planet Earth. And we are the students. He's here to teach us something. He's here to teach us something about ourselves. All these books behind him, a very learned man. This also, I'm being shown, is the computer files. Okay, so it's also representative of the computer files. All of the download of information that he just dumped, and people had to deal with it or not. And again, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little. It feels like it's obviously a hand, but it reminds me of, I used to have a boss who had a phrenology head on in an office like this, in that type of, I don't know, it just reminds me of that, a phrenology head, but it's actually a hand. But the thing is, it's got a little butterfly there as well. He's teaching the world. There's the world there. And just a very esteemed teacher. He's also here to teach government. I want, before I look at these three cards, can I just have another clarification with regards to his role as teacher, please? His role as teacher. What is he here to teach us as a species? What is Julian here to teach us as a species? Right, I'm going to have to get the book out to tell you what this means, because this tarot deck is unusual in that it has this card, which is the white card. And if you know anything about tarot, you'll know that the white card does not appear in other decks at all. So the fact that for him, what he's teaching us is the white card, and it doesn't appear anywhere else, is a lot. Let me tell you what it says. This deck is by Stanislav Reshetnikov. Apologies for my pronunciation. So the white card is a major arcana without a number and a picture. The colour white symbolises concentrated divine energy before splitting up into a colour spectrum. Appearance of the white card signifies that a person is forming a new personal universe, and the way that he is doing it is under the scrutiny of supreme forces. God is getting close to a person, bringing plenty of energy. And it says, I am a blank page on which you are writing your history right now. I am the frontier of beginning and consent, to whom much is given and much is expected. It says, to fulfill the personal super task translated by the white card, we receive unlimited opportunities from all the major arcana, but such trust from God not only is a gift, but carries great responsibility. It is really important to evaluate the motives of one's own actions and the purity of purpose. The white card gives no place for mistake. Wow, I mean, this is divine contract. It says the card represents a tipping point, event of situation, influencing fate. A new lotus for the future is being formed by the decision of this person, personal responsibility. A new lotus of the future is being formed by this person. He is trying to raise us from the dregs and the mud and the crap to get to the beautiful lotus flower. The flower can only bloom, we can only bloom when we are able to face that which has been done in our name, that which we have voted in. And it's easy to say, I didn't know they were doing this. It wasn't done with my consent. But yet we have to get past that to see that it was done, it has been done, and we have to turn a page as humanity and say no more. There needs to be a totally new breed of politics and system of governance around our world, and he is part of getting us to that place. It is so important what happens to him. But as these cards showed, whatever does happen to him, and yes, we're concerned, yes, there is a potential of death, but there's also hope, that he can be taken to a distant shore, which is not a prison cell in America, but is maybe a new life in Australia or wherever else he wants to go. His soul is assured smooth transition to the new. He is of the light. I don't know how more clearly to say it. He is of the light. And when you are of the light and you bring up the stains for humanity to look at, the Seven of Swords, the lies, the manipulations, the deceit, the greed, all of it, then, often you pay a heavy price for that. Now, I think the cards came out in this order. We had the Seven of Swords, we had the Chariot, and we had the Page of Swords. Now, I was asking this with regards to how he's doing at this moment in time, okay? So I feel as though, Julian feels as though the lies and the deceit of others is catching up with them, okay? That finally, we are getting to a place in our world, we might not be quite there yet, where this is more easily seen, okay? And I think most of us can agree that even if still a large portion of the population still don't want to face the darkness in our midst, the darkness of governance, etc., just all of the darkness, let's just put it that way, that we are moving forward with it, and it is coming up for healing. And this is him. This is the Page of Swords. This is the truth I'm hearing. This card just represents the truth. And the lies and deceits feel as though they're going to be found out. I'd like one more card, please, with regards to, because this is very much who he is as a person. Can I see his mental state, please, at this moment in time? So, Julian's mental state at this time. Can I see Julian's mental state at this time? Thank you. The Five of Swords. Victory at all costs. Now, often, when we see this card, I often will say of the Five of Swords, it can have a negative connotation based on somebody sort of winning at all costs, but in a negative way. I'm not feeling that with him. I'm feeling this is more linked into, I will win at all costs, even if you have to kill me. Hopefully that doesn't happen, of course, but that's what it feels like. The only way you will be able to win against me is via that. What's on the bottom of the deck? The Hanged Man is on the bottom of the deck. The energy of crucifixion. The only way that you can win against me is via this energy, the crucifixion energy. But again, without getting into all of the different theories with regards to crucifixion and what happened to Jesus, but I think we can all agree, whether we believe he died on the cross or whether he was brought down semi-alive, he had a life after death, okay? He represents life after death. He represents the fact that even death cannot kill me, because what cannot be killed is this energy, which is the truth. Yeah? Death cannot kill me. Death has no sting. Death has lost its sting, is what I'm hearing. I think that's a passage from the Bible, isn't it? Death has lost its sting. And, I know the Hanged Man is a major arcana that has different messages as well, but I just want to read it today, linked into the picture in particular, because if we look at the picture, we will see that if the top part of it represents Julian, and this is what he's been going through since 2012. He's been in a constant state of crucifixion. Absolutely, people have wanted him crucified. This is a modern day crucifixion, what's been happening to him. But ultimately he has the last laugh, because who actually is crucified, energetically, symbolically, are these demons. The demons aren't his demons. These are the demons that he was highlighting for humanity. Take a look at these. And nobody wanted to, but he forced it onto the table. And whether he passes and dies, or whether he, gets pardoned and starts a beautiful new life in Australia or wherever else, and of course that's absolutely what we hope it to be. Whichever way it goes, what happens is that his story is going to become quite legendary, even more so than it ever has before. It's all going to come back up in terms of, oh, you remember that guy Julian Assange? Oh yeah, I forgot all about him. I'm talking about the people in the street that don't pay any attention to this stuff. Oh, do you remember what that was actually all about? And do you understand that they actually really wanted to kill this guy because he did this? And it's all going to come back out again, because the truth can never be squashed. Going back to the old MJ energy, you know, the Michael Jackson energy, there's a brilliant quote, Michael Jackson, which is, lies run sprints, truth runs marathons, something like that. And I think that's very Julian as well. He's on that path. He's running the marathon. Okay, so that's those cards. Let's see now how whether he is going to be pardoned. I mean, I might have to put a time frame on this, because it could well be that, let me just see. Let's ask about the next year. Okay. No, let's not. Let me just, I want to get the questions right. Is pressure from the Australian MPs going to be enough to move this in a positive direction? Or let's put it another way. What impact will Australian pressure have on Julian being released? What impact will Australian pressure have on Julian potentially being released? 2 cards. Right. The Page of Cups. The 5 of Cups. What's on the bottom of the deck? Death. And the 9 of Swords. Not going to be easy. That's why I wanted to say, you know, America's got an election next year. It's almost as though we're trying to force a question based on the Biden administration, which is in its, wanting to say dying days, not wishing to offend anybody, but equally, I think we can all agree he's maybe not, you know, he's not at his best at the moment. And so whether he runs again, I know he says he's going to, but whether he does, it feels as though there might be a new administration coming in. You know, if the Democrats were to win again, would it be him? Could it be somebody else? Could it be Trump? Could it be RFK? Could it be, you know, any of the players on the stage? We don't know right now. So it's as though the Australians are coming at a time whereby government generally in its last year has its eye very much fixed on just the election and getting re-elected, and other things don't take such precedence. Put it this way, if this was in the first year of a new administration, whoever it was, it feels as though the energy would be more positive in terms of, yeah, absolutely, actually this guy's been in there long enough, come on, I want to have a fresh new start, it could be good for my public image to release this guy or whatever, you know. But we're not in that stage with regards to American politics. We're in a stage which is feeling a bit stagnant, uncertain. Nobody quite knows what's coming next. There's so much up in the air with regard to pretty much all of the candidates that Julian feels a little bit lost. But he's always been a bit lost. It always feels like it's been like this. He's never felt as though he's had the consistent attention and focus that he needs from any one government, be it the Australians, the British, the Americans. It's as though he's been an afterthought. So the question was, what can the Australian delegation do? Cards explain. Oh, okay, right, all right. Just flew out before I even got to the devil. Oh, God. Death and the devil. Sorry, guys. Just give me a minute. I hate this card. This card, let me just focus the camera so you can see it a bit clearer. if you're new to watching me, you might not understand that I've got probably about, I don't know, God knows how many tarot decks and oracle decks, probably about between 50 and 70, maybe more than that. And every time I read on a particular subject, I choose the decks that I feel I need for that session, and I'm guided to by spirit. The fact that I'm using this particular deck, the Insight Tarot, with this particular depiction of the devil, says a lot to me, because this is basically saying, how successful are the Australian delegation going to be? They're coming in as the Page of Cups, okay? Unfortunately, they're not coming in as a king or a queen. They're coming in with, and that's with regards to influence over the situation. Current administration with the eagle at the top, just wants to bury this case. Not interested in it, to be perfectly honest. Five of Cups. I mean, maybe they could get something. They could get some concession, but it's not exactly what they want, I don't think. Hope I'm wrong, guys. I'll pull a few more cards in the moment, but this devil card is what bothers me. It's like, we'll keep Julian hanging on a string. He's our puppet. And when it is in our interest, we will release him. We will cut the string and we will release him. When it's good for us, when the auditorium is full of people watching and we're going to win favour. We're not going to do it because it's the right thing to do or it's the honourable thing to do, which is what RFK Jr. would do. We will do it if, on a whim, or if it's worth something. I'm wondering whether there's, can a deal be done? The other D, death, devil, deal. Is there a deal to be done? What can we get from you if we were to pardon this man? The thing about Assange, you see, there's a card in this deck that it didn't come up when I was pulling on camera, but last night when I was just sort of playing around with the cards a little bit and tuning into Julian, this card came up for him, and it's the card of high honour, because I feel that Julian is a man of high honour. I mean, even his biggest enemies, I don't think can contradict that, because even if you don't agree with what he did, you don't like him as a human being, you can't not see that this is a man who is willing to die for his principles. And what are his principles? They're his truth. He has honour, okay? He lives his life on honour. He's never going to, put it this way, he would never accept a plea deal whereby, somebody said, okay, Julian, we're going to let you out, but it's on the grounds of you have to come out and give a speech saying that you were wrong and actually that you've learnt your lesson and you wish you hadn't done it. And, all of that type of stuff, a bit like a hostage situation where a hostage has to say what their captor tells them to do and then they get their release. Julian would say, up yours, no. He would never do it, never in a million years, because he's a man of honour. But unfortunately, the people that he's playing with, well, no, he's not playing with them, they are in charge, the puppet masters, whoever they are. And remember, this can be much higher than actually the people in government that we see as government. There is a shadow government above government. They are the ones that are like, nah, we don't play by honour. We don't play by honour. We don't do that. So we would only let you go and cut the strings if there's something in it for us. So let's have a look here at the integrity of the Australian delegation. I'm just going to say the Australian delegation because, would they accept some sort of plea bargain, or I don't know if that's the right term. We've got 2 tens and a king, 10 of wands and 10 of swords. Well, how would you interpret those cards, guys? Over to you a little bit. We've got 2 tens. 10 of wands is a heavy burden. 10 of swords is it's over. King of wands is a positive card. The King of wands can carry a lot of, put it this way, colours of Australia, red. I feel as though the Australian delegation is strong. It's strong. It means business. But it's it's a blinking heavy task that they've got ahead of them. And is it going to end in failure with that 10 of Wands? You see, we've also got the Death card. Would the Australians do some sort of secret deal or some sort of secret thing to get him out? I mean, I know this is the way of the world and it happens like this, but, you know, show me what how far would the Australians go to get him out? How far would they go to get him out? Would they do a dirty deal? I want to say a dirty deal. The Queen of Wands, the Nine of Wands, a lot of fire energy. To be perfectly honest with you guys, I don't really know. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to try and make stuff up when cards are just a bit difficult to read. I don't know. Would they do a deal? King and Queen of Wands. I'd like to say no, because to me, King and Queen of Wands is a combined masculine and feminine energy. It feels very strong. It's a very strong energy. Is it saying that they would be prepared to walk away with nothing rather than compromise their ideals? Maybe. Not sure. Okay, let's put all the cards back into the deck. I think I'll stick with this deck for the moment. And we're going to ask about extradition to USA. Now I'm being told use a different deck. Okay. Let's keep that picture out, the Hanged Man. Let's go to my After Tarot deck, which is my go-to deck. Okay, as of today is September the 15th. It is Virgo new moon. We have a lot of planets in retrograde, not a lot of forward energy. A lot can change, but just based on today's energy, as things lie at the moment, the card of the past, childhood. Will he be pardoned? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to have a pile here for will he be pardoned? And I'm going to have a pile here for will he be extradited? And we're going to have 2 cards for each one. And let's just see if we can get an answer. I don't know whether the cards will give it to us. Because remember, we've got the Puppet Master. And the Puppet Master does things on a whim. It can be literally how they feel when they wake up in the morning. Am I going, you know, they actually quite enjoy the power of life and death in their hands. They like the power of being able to be the arbiter of somebody's life. So we're dealing with that type of energy, but I'm just going to try my best to get an answer. So will he be pardoned? Metatron, please help us out here. Will he be pardoned? 2 cards. Okay, we've got 2 cards. Will he be extradited? Because what we've got here really is 2 different timelines, and we're going to have a look at the strength of each one. Will he be extradited to the USA? Metatron, will he be extradited to the USA? 2 cards. Let's start with, will he be extradited to the USA? The Fool and the Queen of Pentacles. We've got that woman again. I don't know who this woman is. There's definitely a woman with influence and power that seems to be helping him somehow. Now, the Fool to me is, put it this way, I don't usually interpret the Fool as starting a new journey, which is going to be really terrible and awful, you know, and locked up in a prison cell. The Fool is somebody who has gone through all of the stages of a particular cycle and completed it. And they are into a completely fresh new beginning where everything is new, all the circumstances are new, the behaviours are new, even the air smells differently. He's smelling a flower, it smells different. It's different. It doesn't feel to me as though that would be, because put it this way, if he was extradited to USA, that would just be another chapter in this book. This is a completely new book. So going on those two cards, I would say no. I don't feel he will be. Will he be pardoned? The 8 of Swords and the 4 of Swords. Possibly. You see, the 8 of Swords is a situation where you feel trapped and there's no way out. You're blindfolded, you can't see a way out, you're going to be there forever. But actually, all it takes is somebody to come in, cut this bind, this tie that is actually very loose. It's not as tight as you think it is. Take off the blindfold and you're away. But we have the 4 of Swords here, which is a card which can represent, it might come with a cost if he is pardoned. Put it this way, I feel as though if he's pardoned and he, I really hope this is the case, he has a new life, the last God knows how many years in prison and in that embassy, they've taken their toll on him. Of course they have, mentally and physically. He'll need a period of recuperation and rest and recovery. Some people do view this card as a death card because obviously she's visiting this person who's lying like in a mausoleum type energy. But again, I don't want to go there. I'd like to interpret that in a different way, that he's just, when I say tired, this is a different level tiredness, guys, okay? This is being released and resting. The Emperor on the bottom of the deck. Why is the Emperor there? I can't remember which one I pulled last, whether the Emperor goes with that or the Emperor goes with that. So I'm going to read it separately. So the Emperor card. The Emperor is the card, obviously he's law and order. I'm hearing law and order has been restored. Justice has been served in some way. Okay, let's just ask justice for Julian. We've got that card again. 5 of Swords, win at all costs, and the Page of Wands. And the Knight of Swords, and the Chariot. It's all this sword energy. But swords are truth, you see. Knight of Swords, 8 of Swords, 4 of Swords, 5 of Swords. I don't really like reading on life and death, so I would prefer to say that however it goes down for him, he becomes free. He becomes free of this mental anguish. He's in a state. Remember, he's in this state. This is crucifixion energy. This is tortured. This is a torture type energy. It's tortured energy. If it was the old days, I went to the Tower of London, this summer. He'd have been put on the blinking rack. That's what this is. Torture is what he's been through. We've got Tower as well, as I said that. I didn't realise the Tower was there. Look at that. I was just talking about the Tower of London. There we are. The Tower, absolutely. He would have been locked up in the Tower. Had his head chopped off or something in the old days. But no, they've just left him there. And but the writing is on the wall. The writing is on the wall. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to go 3 years into the future for him. 3 years into the future for him. And we have a 3 of Pentacles come up as we see 3 years into the future. Looking back on a life well done, as it were. Looking back on his life's work. We don't know where he is in terms of looking back on his life's work. Hopefully he's still here on the earth plane. But, looking back on his life's work, the sculptor who has created this beautiful sculpture, looking back at what he's achieved. His tools have been put down. It's taken a combination of different energies to get to this place of standing back and admiring your work, what you did, how you did it. "3 years from now, show me how he is, please." 3 years from now, Julian Assange, which takes us to 2026. September 2026, Julian Assange. I'll just see what I can pick up. Julian Assange, September 2026. Julian Assange. I'm drawn to my feet for some reason. I don't really know why. It might just be linked into, you know, when you're relaxing and you put your feet into water, for example, you know, like you're by the sea, you paddle and you put your feet into the sea. Or what I love doing is I love putting my feet into wet grass, you know, or warm sand. For some reason I'm picking up his feet, but it feels as though it's a relaxing thing. The tower, we've got the tower, but this is the bottom of the pack. I think the tower has fallen by then. Why have we got the tower coming up again, Metatron, and the Fool? Same cards coming up again. Let's just reshuffle. 3 years for now. Maybe I'm not allowed to see it. I don't know. Let's just have a go. Ooh, I've gone over an hour. Okay, guys. Let's just end with a couple of cards then for 3 years from now. Ooh. Right. I want to interpret these cards. And I'm going to end on these 3 cards. Well, I've got that one as well, which is on the bottom of the deck. All the hard work was worth it. The 10 of Wands, the point where you feel you can't go on. A lot of hard work, blonde-haired man. All the hard work was worth it. He's somewhere else. I don't know where he is. He's somewhere else. And I'll tell you the other thing with this. He's outside of the prison walls. I mean, you know, a castle there. It could be a prison. He's outside of it. He's not in it. He's outside of it. There's a celebration. There's a sense of freedom. There's a little kid here. I just want to say the hard work was worth it. The soul contract was worth it. The job is done is what I'm hearing as well. The job is done. 3 years from now. 3 years from now. Julian Assange. Actually, I'm not sure. I'll tell you what I'm going to end with. I'm going to end with an Australian card from the Aboriginal Dreamtime Oracle. Message for Julian. Julian Assange. Message for Julian from your homeland. Message for Julian from your homeland. Message for Julian from your homeland. I'm hearing we love you. Sacred knowledge. Yeah, he's back on the beach. It's that energy of the beach that I was feeling. Where's the book? Let's end with a message. Sacred knowledge. The little black snake. Oh, it's a story. Okay, you ready for a little story, guys? It's only a little one. The little black snake. Hold on, let me take my glasses off. Oh, God. The little black snake was strong-headed and didn't like to listen to what his mum had to say and would often wander off on his own to explore the bush. As the days started to get cooler, he found it was getting harder to find the energy to make it home at night. One cool winter's day, when the sun didn't warm the ground until early afternoon, he wandered further from home than he had ever gone before. Before he realised it, the sun was setting and the ground was cold, making it hard for him to slither back to his mum and siblings. As the night got darker and colder, he curled up to try and keep his warmth and to hide from the nighttime predators. All night he stayed awake listening for noises, becoming more and more afraid, until finally morning arrived and the sun poked over the horizon, warming his body and giving him strength again. With a warmed body and lots of energy, he slithered quickly back to his mum, who had been waiting for him all night. He promised his mum to listen to her in the future and to never go too far away from home again. Oh my God. Oh my God. What a beautiful way to end this reading. My goodness. It feels as though Julian is coming home, and he's coming home in some capacity. And let's hope and let's raise an awareness and see him. I don't know if you can see this. Somebody sent this to me a few years ago. It says, I am surrounding Julian Assange in healing blue light, and so it is. I am surrounding Julian Assange in healing blue light now, and so it is. We see him safe. We see him returned home. We see his job done well, and we give it up now to a greater power, to the Godhead, to Metatron, to Ashtar, to Julian's guides. We surround him with healing light. We surround those who love him with healing light. And I thank you for listening. I will, when we know what the day X is, make you aware of it, particularly on Facebook and Instagram, where I do more, regular daily news, because we don't yet know when day X is, and that is the day when, what is it? It's the date of the public hearing. To try and overturn the decision of the British High Court to extradite him, basically. So, yeah, I'll put the link below for this website, indexoncensorship.org. It's got all the details. You can read it for yourself. I do hope that you enjoyed today's reading. Thank you very much. Please share and like it. And I send you lots of love. Bye-bye for now. If you've enjoyed this reading, please subscribe to the channel, where we look at a number of different things in the news from time to time. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.